That music can mean only one thing. We're waiting for the Aladdin DVD to start over. It's Monday Mirages.
How often does that happen to you, where you have the DVD going and it resets and you fell asleep and you can just hear that one loading screen with the same song?
It's never me. It's other people.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Because like me, I can't fall asleep with something like that on. So like if my kid falls asleep with something like that going, I just hear it ding, 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 at like 3 a.m. Turn off your television! Ah! All right, Monday Mirages, have at it.
One more thing.
All right.
I had a roommate one time. He was watching Silence of the Lambs. You know that song in the background, that really creepy song where the dancing's going on in the robe and all that?
Oh, yeah.
Goodbye Horses, it might be called something like that.
Yeah.
My roommate one time
Horses, I think.
put it on full blast at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. Said, he was a little intoxicated and said, you guys will all be punished tonight, and then fell asleep. So that ran on a loop for like 5 hours.
Guess what? I would never sleep again.
Yeah, that roommate was not a great roommate. Money Mirage, we're trying to figure out what has
the lotion on its skin. It gets the hose again.
What has stayed power and what has just happened once and it's just a mirage. This weekend's major win will be the only one of Sergio Garcia's career. Real or mirage?
I'm going to go real. I haven't seen anything from him that leads me to believe he's going to go out there and just dominate majors now.
Yeah, I'm real too, but does that make us bad people? Like, we're not rooting against Sergio, but he's given us 20 years of not winning majors. Then he wins one, so now we expect him to win a bunch? It just doesn't add up.
Well, the last 5 have all been won by somebody who's never won a major before. There's nothing that leads me to believe that won't continue on.
Yes.
like we until somebody decides I'm going to be the dominant golfer of this generation, they'll just keep winning them.
If you were to ask Sergio Garcia in his mid-20s, would you only win one major and be happy? He'd say absolutely not, no way, because he was perceived at that time to be the next big thing.
Right.
But if you were to ask him that same question now, hey, this is where it ends. You're going to win this Masters with your fiance in the crowd on the 60th anniversary of a golfing Spanish legend. Are you okay with that? He'd probably say, you know what, I'm okay with it. That's the way it's going to end up being. In a playoff, I hit the game-winning shot or game-winning putt, match-winning putt.
Got a green jacket.
Yeah.
That's more than we can say.
Mm-hmm. Real or mirage, Michael Pineda had his best pitching performance for all of 2017 today.
This is a tough one. I'm going to go mirage. I think when it gets hot out in the middle of the summer, he's going to have everything dialed in, and he may take a no-hitter into the 9th.
Ooh.
I don't know if he'll get one because everybody's going to talk about no-hitters, but he's got the stuff to take one in the 9th.
I'm going real here. That's the best performance we'll get out of Pineda this year for the Yankees, but that's not a terrible thing. I mean, the guy was perfect up until the 7th inning. That's okay to have a one-hitter, a three-hitter, and allow one run. If this is the start of something great for Pineda, and you had to have this amazing performance to start, good. Take it, Yankee fans. Again, not a shot against the athlete. It's just that you were so good, it's tough to have something better than that all year long.
Plus, people are going to jinx you.
And you ought to call your friends, your neighbors, anyone you know. Tell them to tune in. Michael Pineda's pitched a perfect game through 6.
Put your beer down, John.
Oh, John!
Put your beer
down,
John.
Don't tweet out about it. Martha Stewart.
Pitched the perfect game. Pitched the perfect one. Ice cold Budweiser.
I don't hate much Sterling just going after that. Like, hey, he has a job as a broadcaster, especially a radio broadcaster. He's not getting the graphics to help him out a bit. I'm not crushing him as much as I'm crushing Martha Stewart.
I'm crushing them all. We're in a day and age where everybody's like, well, somebody else is going to say it first. Let them be the jerk.
Blame ESPN, because once it's the 7th inning, they become the perfect game watch.
I know. And I don't think there's been one since they started doing it, I swear.
Real or mirage, Tim Tebow will play the entire season with the Columbia Fireflies.
It's a mirage, my friend. He's already got 2 home runs. He's 1 away from Michael Jordan's career high. I think the second they have a reason to move him around the organization, they're gonna do so.
Mirage too, but I wonder if we go back in February and March if this was already planned. Hey, if Tebow is batting .083, he's getting moved to Double-A or another Single-A team. Like, he's gonna move to the Brooklyn Cyclones or the New York Penn League, or he's gonna go.
Bumble ponies.
Yeah, whatever he did, he probably was gonna be on the move to help out that organization if they're not selling tickets. We're gonna talk to Kevin Fitzgerald tomorrow. I'm interested to see what he says about that. Maybe he even knows, okay, the time's going to come. Tebow's going to be this good. he may actually have to be a double-A baseball player for the quality of play. What am I saying out loud? Like, that's a real statement I just had, and it probably holds some weight.
Tim Tebow. All he does is walk on water and hit home runs. That's all he does.
Real or Mirage? Skipping the Mike and Mike interview this morning has you concerned about Myles Garrett's draft stock.
Mirage. He's going to be the number one player taken. Worst case, number two. And that's just if Cleveland's playing around a little bit. I mean, I literally just read an article that Cleveland hasn't ruled out Leonard Fournette with the number one overall pick. So there's Cleveland's like, well, who wants it? Who wants the pick? Because who do you want? Oh, we're going to take them. Who are going to take them too? We're going to take all the people at number one. Wah! No, he's fine. I got to tell you, I could spin it that it was a good move. You know, he goes on there and he has a meltdown or just walks out or anything like that. Looks way worse than not going. You know the old saying, keep your mouth shut, be thought a fool, rather than open it, remove all doubt.
Yeah, and there's some NFL players that if they have a quick temper or they can flip the switch when they're irritated, that makes them a great football player. Maybe Myles Garrett's one of these guys where, hey, if you say the wrong thing, he's going to toss an offensive tackle over and slam a quarterback. But for real, it's real for me, and I get it for a radio interview. It's not affecting his 40 time or his tackling ability. But no one's criticized Myles Garrett truly except Booger McFarland. And his criticism, I think Booger would agree, isn't even that harsh. He said he kind of doesn't play as physical as other defensive linemen. And that's okay because he's a pass rusher and he's just a physical monster. But criticism comes to Myles Garrett and he passes on it. We've seen a lot of examples of college athletes who were criticized. They moved to the pros. They said, oh, block this guy, block that guy. They hit the pros and they can't handle it. I don't want to call him Ryan Leaf, but I'd say we have an example of someone who couldn't handle the criticism of being a high pick and how he responded. Jadeveon Clowney for a while was the same way. Now, injuries for him too, but just be careful a little bit about Myles Garrett. It's a soft draft class this year when it comes to top-heavy, like Hall of Famer, no doubt franchise players. I get people told us to draft overalls deep, but be careful. It's got me a little concerned. Real and Mirage. UFC 210 in Buffalo was a disappointment.
I'm going to say Mirage, but only because I didn't really think it was going to be that good in the first place.
Oh, okay. I think it's a backhanded compliment that I was there, so okay.
Oh, no, like, I'm glad that you were there. You know, I just, again, I hate Daniel Cormier, so the fact he won, it sucked. There wasn't a kind of card that really had me all excited.
Mirage for me, too, because I loved being there as a fan. I had so much fun going to some of the, let's say, drinking quarters and drinking centers of Buffalo. Had a great time with the crowd. Crowd was into it. But those two finishes, the Cormier finish, I wanted Rumble Johnson to knock him out in the first round, and then Rumble Johnson, who's one of my favorite fighters, retires at the end of the fight. That no one saw that coming. Right. And then the Chris Weidman finish, where if you have both your hands down on the canvas, you can't punch him, but then he had one off barely. And the story goes, I don't know how much they said this on the television broadcast, but trust my source on this. I won't say how I know, but I'm willing to put my career on how confident I am on this statement. When Chris Weidman raised his hand and people thought, all right, Weidman's ready to go, put him back out there. He talked to the doctor, and they asked him what day it was, and he didn't know what day it was. So the doctor would not clear him. They said, you're clearly concussed. That's why that one had to end.
That happened to me this morning. You guys made me work. What is that all about?
Last one here. Real or Mirage? 13 Reasons Why is the best show you've watched on Netflix in 2017.
Oh, man.
Movies included. I'll toss movies or television shows. Just this year.
Iron Fist, pretty good. Not great. I count the Chappelle series. Started watching Louis C.K.
House of Cards is on the way. Orange is the New Black is on the way.
Just this year so far.
Yeah.
That's real. That's a really one. It's very emotional. It's a well done show. They don't spoon feed you anything. You have to figure it all out. Like it all comes together. My only fear is how well it's done, because it almost glorifies suicide. Almost. It gets real close. Where I want to make sure that everybody knows, like, when you look at that, there's some very real images. It's some very, very disturbing at points. But, I mean, you spent 13 episodes from the point of view of a dead girl. It's like I said, it's very different, I liked it. I'm a little nervous.
I was skeptical for a long time. Over the weekend, someone had some comments about whether or not I should be watching 13 Reasons. They posted on our Facebook page saying that it was one of the best shows on Netflix and don't listen to Ghazi Bear about it. Jeff wrote in, not you, or Brandon, excuse me. 13 Reasons Why is apparently 98% match for stuff I watch. I only started watching it because you, Levac, talked about it. Don't listen to Ghazi Bear.
It was, like I said, Netflix original series have become really, really good. It's no Stranger Things. But
every critic loves it, and that's why I was convinced, ooh, what am I not? I gotta be a smart person, too. Like, these critics, everyone universally is praising how good the show is.
Which normally means I hate something. Anything everybody else likes, I hate. No, it's just really, really well done. Just be careful. If your kids watch it, make sure you have the hard conversations. Because there's still, even though you know the end in the beginning, the whole thing is 13 Reasons Why she committed suicide. You still, are hoping somehow it doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, just make sure you have a conversation of finality.
I'm looking forward to the House of Cards special coming out on Netflix later. I got to watch the Chappelle. I'm not a huge Louis C.K. fan. I had to watch that.
I'm only 15 minutes in. He already made my jaw drop 6 times.
Now there's a Casey Anthony special now. After watching the OJ
That's
one,
you.
of
You
course,
love those
Dateline, 60 Minutes.
Crime documentaries.
Yeah. Now that Dexter's off the air, I got to get my fix.